The minus armor stacking up my Tide Hunter TA. What can you do? It gives you everything. Immortalized, of course, from from old Nigma. And it's just perfect for Orca. They have a lot of minus armor now. They've got pretty damn good team fight with Tide. There's an option here for a Minyo Ping to run a Tide Hunter 5 and a Weaver 4, or flipping that around as well on the supports, or just running the GY Tide. So you have a lot of ways of handling that for T1. They've got the counter pick, Disruptor, Static Storm, Ruins Weaver, and Tide Hunter. So it's going to be a bit harder to get a good Ravage off as long as our Disruptor is in good position. And we know Whitemon plays a very mean Disruptor. He knows how to position it. Zephyr as well. They can kind of shift it with a Treant. Depending on what they'd want, 4 or 5, I think the Treant should take farm priority overall. And they go for a safe pick for Gabby on the safe lane. Luna coming through, great core matchup against TA as the farm goes up. Might take a little bit more time for a Luna to really hit its massive power spike in comparison. I think a TA with Deso Blink or Deso BKB just feels a lot faster with its damage output in comparison to the Luna. But as long as T1 has control of the triangle, they can still keep that farm up.
Here's my thing, John. I think we've seen a very similar draft, and again, if it's not banned out, I think Cuckoo straight goes Dragon Knight off lane. Like, deals with the TA very well, you burn through refraction charges in Dragon form, tower push with DP, DK, and Luna, with all that bonus damage you're getting, is pretty hard to go against. And yeah, I think you just go off lane DK here for T1, assuming it's not banned down in this last ban phase. And if they do go down that route, I think their draft's already too strong to deal with, to be honest. Because again, we've seen this before, John. They are very quick. They do not let you win the lanes. And you've got to decide, do we shut down Gabby? Do we shut down Carl? And if we do shut down one of those guys, what happens to the offlane? Because we've seen Cuckoo really performing quite well recently and taking that extra greed for himself. Still, Snapfire does come out for Team Orca, so assumedly Tide Snapfire offlane, or, you know, you could still run the Tide Weaver. Either way, I do think they'll probably go the Snapfire Tide route because it just feels a little bit stronger with that minus armor plus the stun. Whereas Weaver, yeah, you've got the swarm, but you could still kind of abuse that in the safe lane with your POS 1. Question for me though, Jonathan, is Orca gonna ban out DK?
It's a pretty safe ban, as you mentioned, just fits T1's draft really well. I think if you give DK to T1, not only do they have the option to just run it offlane for Cuckoo, they could still shift it for Carl mid.
Right.
If they do feel the need to run the DP offlane for Cuckoo instead, depending on what they do with the TA. That's normally our Citrus hero, not so much on VT Faded, but that flex potential is there. Considering your laning partners with Weaver or the Snapfire, there's a lot of aggression a TA can get out. The supports can buy you that space from the safe lane. And so I think that's the one consideration, that the flex potential for T1 is a bit too strong. We'll see if Orca respect it. They do ban out the Viper instead, so still protecting that TA pick more directly, just ensuring it's not going to get shut down. They might have seen what happened with a flex pick Viper on the offlane with Boom Series yesterday. That was quite the beatdown on the TA lane. Yeah, that was quite the lane, so you don't want to have the TA deal with it on the mid or safe. And you really just need to enable the TA. Like, there's no other natural counters left. Tide's already somewhat held by the Disruptor. Everyone else is not really a big worry for T1. It's really just the TA that they need to really find a way to shut down. Because this hero, it's still too strong, right? Like, gold gain is still the same on lane and on the neutrals. Neutrals are a bit tougher, not a big problem for TA. And for some reason, Desolator got a buff. Like 5 less initial damage, but you can get plus 20 from the original when you stack up the kills and the assists. I don't know why they had to tune it that way, man. It's like, yeah, it's nice. It's not a completely dead item slot as the game goes on. It's like, did it really need to last that long? Well,
no.
Maybe Ice Frog feels otherwise.
So, last pick. It's either you're flexing the DP into the offlane and choosing Doom for Carl. Hopefully, because we're very excited about Doom. Or, again, offlane DK, I think, for T1. You got any other heroes you think would fit T1's draft here, John? Or even Team Orca?
I hate to say it. T1 did try the Scent last time. Never mind. They go for the Pangolier instead. So, giving them more team fight on the side of T1. This is a much more active hero for T1 to play with as well. And that does beg the question, are we seeing a Carl Pango mid or a Cuckoo Pango offlane? I think it should be Cuckoo on the offlane with a Pango. Again, reliant on the last pick, and Orca will close out with Puck. So that should just be the Cuckoo Pango now. That profit up against Puck. For Carl, Carl knows Puck. He's a well-renowned puck player, so he knows how to play against that lane. And I think the Pango against TA is still a really strong lane, Mike. You still take care of Refraction. The disarm from Lucky Shot's going to be annoying for VT Faded once you have that value point up.
Right.
And you can get pretty aggressive with a Pangolier as well. Very strong combinations would say Glimpse back with your Pangolier jumping forward, dragging Hero back with a Vision game, and that should allow a little bit more coming out from Cuckoo's lane than you'd expect here.
I was curious though when I saw the Pango, like did they need the team fight? Like you've got Overgrowth, you've got Static Storm, you've got Eclipse. I didn't feel like maybe they felt like they needed some more stun. I mean that'd be fair. I suppose Pango is really the only strong stun with the Rolling Thunder. Diffusal Blade build up as well, quite busted right now. It's very, very nice in the Pango. I mean, I like it, John, but I've got to say, it kind of makes me feel like Orca's got the better draft now, because I'm looking at their team fight, I'm looking at the fact that they have this TA. I don't know how to feel, because I don't know if T1 has a draft now that can really snowball quick enough anymore. I do feel like you were correct in saying the TA should be able to keep up, if not overtake Gabby, throughout the early stages of the game. And Orca's been playing extremely well. Very aggressive, but very surgical at the same time. So this could be a very close game one.
Definitely. I think Orca's got a lineup that comes online once everyone has their level 6. You can just run around as 4. Ravage, Kisses combinations there. Dream Coil to stop the roll if you manage to get to jump on Cuckoo. T1's going to have to try to measure that aggression and really just stall out as much as possible. I think it's to the benefit of T1 to actually play slower with their draft. Just play more defensively, play reactively, ensure that the farm will come out for Gabby. If you can, try to hunt down the TA, but that's easier said than done. Especially when you're in the Radiant side. It just feels like the Radiant triangle, it's a lot more protected, Mike. We've seen across multiple regions. You can easily invade Dire jungle, but the Radiant triangle is a lot harder to lock in, and that's going to be to the benefit of VT Faded.
Oh, absolutely. One of those beautiful things about the Dota map, right? Like, the sides aren't actually even, but they both have their advantages, as we do see Menu Ping move in and get a very nice snipe on the Observer Ward. And Carl, very good with the voice lines there, Carl. It does suit the situation very nicely. So Menu Ping already off to a great start here for Team Orca. Gonna mean a bit of a disadvantage here for Carl, but he's playing DP, John. I'm not sure if you can actually be disadvantaged with this hero right now.
Nah, it should still be a steady lane. I think they should just allow Orca to spot out if T1 does commit for, say, a rotation down the line. You are seeing them be a little bit aggressive to Menu Ping, but yeah, Shikuchi is just going to be annoying. They have the sentry ready on Zephyr, not going to want to drop it early in a spot they don't gain much from the laning phase. And they already have a couple sentries down blocking camps anyway, so it should be looking to be an even bounty trade, but GY will try to force the issue a bit up top. We'll walk away.
I'll give up on it. I do appreciate as well, John, that we do have Zephyr at the bot, because I think the Disruptor just does very well into the Weaver. I think they wanted that matchup against Menu Ping, because you can always glimpse him back, and Thunderstrike is very effective, because Weaver has a very low HP pool. So I actually like the decision to give Whitemon the train as POS 5, and maybe, I don't know if it's farm priority that Zephyr's going to get on the Disruptor now as POS 4, but at least in terms of the laning stage, I do think it's the smarter choice here from T1.
For sure. And I think even farm priority, I wouldn't mind it on a Disruptor. It'll allow you to find the Ags timing. And we've seen Zephyr Disruptor before. He does tend to go for that Ags past the laning phase, try to save up. Just that AoE mute's going to be really big. The lane combination, not only are you holding back Weaver, as you mentioned, with Thunderstrike and the Glimpse, you can play with your long-range reach with the Swashbuckle as well. So there's a lot of damage T1 can do from a pretty safe distance once they've got the levels up. This is still a TA lane. You are still a melee hero pretty much up against the TA. VT Faded can try to play around with the side lanes down the line. But the initial levels for TA is what really feels painful. Menu Ping is trying to apply that pressure with the Shikuchi, but remember, that was nerfed. 3-second cooldown is pretty big in terms of getting off your harassment here.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, over in the mid lane as well, John, you've got Carl there against Citrus, and it's kind of hard again to go against the DP when you look at this hero matchup. And Puck is still very powerful, but again, into DP, not really a hero that loses lanes very often.
Yeah, it's hard to zone out. You can get some even footing on farm for Citrus, but it does feel like the Puck doesn't really trade all too well. Spirit Siphon up against ranged heroes, not ideal. Puck has a lot of ways of jumping out. At the same time, you have nothing to help you sustain here on the Puck. You have to play on edge with a phase shift. And Carl's just going to have a relatively decent time controlling that lane. Higher base damage as well on the right clicks. So easier time to secure that PS.
Yeah, Gabby Getting very low there, John. Gabby just about to drop, but does get salved up now by Whitemon, but it goes back to that combination. I think this is the one lane that Orca, you can confidently say, should be able to win this lane, is GY and Yif against Gabby, and of course Whitemon on the Treant. And even if you've got this real menace in the Treant Protector, it's still just very dangerous to try and get up close here against GY and Yif. And you can see Whitemon, he is hesitating quite a bit to try to go for those auto attacks.
And one big thing that Orca did here, while GY was spending time up top before trying to snipe that rune, he cut down the tree line. And there's just no way for Whitemon to play aggressively. That takes away a lot of the presence of the Treant in the first 2 tree levels. And that just prevents him from getting the space needed for Gabby to control lane. Because up against a Tide, Luna's attack range doesn't put it out of danger of Anchor Smash. There's always the threat of getting twacked, your base damage goes way down, you're in range for the gush, you've already got a little shredder up on Rieth as well.
Yeah, bot lane, Cuckoo gonna try and go for the fight, Menu Ping, he'll be the one to take the kill, but they do at least get BT faded as now Zephyr's gonna be chased down. Menu Ping, he'll keep going for a double. Very nice kills here for the Weaver. I don't know though, John, you get the TA kill, which I think T1 really wanted. Do you call that worth for T1, or do you think Orca got away with quite a bit?
It's not the ideal situation, mainly because you still lose VT Faded, but you win out the trade in the end. I don't think you're going to be asking for too much there. A Weaver getting some farm in lane isn't the worst thing in the world. Allows faster timing for the Urn, so it's to the benefit of Orca. And besides that, VT Faded still farming anyway. He's not being slowed down too much by Cuckoo's presence. Maybe not as fast as Gabby's farm, comparing to safe laners here, but still in a really good spot. And again, TA is weaker in these first few levels. By level 3 with a value point and refraction, it's going to be harder to find that kill.
Yeah. Top lane, Whitemon. This is what I was talking about, John. It's still just very dangerous to try and get close. It's just so much minus armor with the Gush and the little Shredder. And once you land that cookie, it's just too easy. It doesn't matter what hero you're against. It's always just so simple for the laning stage if you do have tight snap.
Yeah, it's just stacking the damage up. And again, it's just so painful for Whitemon with no tree line. Even that forward tree line by the tier 1 is cut off. They're just making sure that there's no laning presence at all from Whitemon. And it's not like you necessarily want to sit back and pull on a tree. If you've got really high base damage, you want to be able to trade back. But there's no angle for Whitemon here. So a bit of a slower start for T1 up top. Really good performance from Orca so far, getting 3-1. The one benefit here for T1 is that you can flash farm quite fast on the Luna. We're not seeing the supports get that opportunity to get stacks off though, not yet. And that's gonna maybe slow down the flash farm potential of Gabby if they don't manage to start building up at some point.
No, it certainly feels that way, John. You can see even Yif just getting involved, trying to take some creeps away here from Gabby, but at least Gabby does get the big tomato creep and should be able to get the yellow tomato as well.
Not on my watch.
Suppose we'll call that the lemon. There you go. Let's find it. Very nice. Mid lane, Citrus is getting chased a little bit, and again, it's to be expected here from Carl. And speaking of Carl right now, John, he's 13 CS ahead of Citrus, which is a bit problematic here for Team Orca.
I mean, we mentioned it, right? Like, DP has a lot of ways of self-sustaining in terms of trade, just because of Spirit Siphon. And Carl knows his puck inside out. He's played that hero for years. He knows its shortcomings. He knows when to push against it, when to hold back, and what windows to look for. Rune control's been rather even, as you'd expect. DP has pretty good move speed to take the other rune with no problem, and Puck does have the orb. We're not seeing that emphasis on mid from Orca to get rotations out, so there's no way for Citrus to make any plays. He does have Dream Coil up. Maybe you could make a play now with Yif coming in for that 6-minute rune on point here.
Whitemon's going to be around as well. This time, it might be a little bit difficult to try and go after this top power rune at least. There'll be a bit of a fight over the bottom side as well, as Menu Ping and Zephyr are going to show up. But again, it's very dangerous. You've got the teams back on Zephyr, and the haste rune is going to go the way of Carl. They don't have the greatest heroes to try and secure power runes here for Citrus, and well, that just makes matters even worse now. Because Citrus, he's quite reliant on these to try and catch up, and well, he's not getting anything.
No. Not finding the openings. They do at least manage to get some D wards. You can see a lot of vision in this top rune area. 2 wards just watching Riverside just to ensure Citrus doesn't get rotated on. So at the least, this is also wasting T1's time. But eventually they'll just commit. They've got Exorcism ready to go on Carl. They could look for a fight, go into a push, and start applying that map pressure they need. We talked about how hard it is to invade the triangle of Radiant side. With the tier 1 mid gone early on, it becomes a much easier prospect for T1 if they want to keep a check on any stacks that VT Fate might be able to get up. And there are some pretty decent stacks, at least in the large camp here. So that's something they want to reel in sooner rather than later. Gabby kind of just playing the lane pretty safe at this point. We are seeing Whitemon build some stacks up as well in the jungle. Not as much in comparison to Orca in the triangle. So there's still going to be that farm disparity if the TA is allowed to clear out the jungle later on.
Oh, it's a lot of farm coming in here from the Snapfire, that's for sure. Mid lane, or rather bot lane, Cuckoo. Still farming very well here on the Pango, just not really too contested. Meantime, mid lane, BT Faded's shown up now. So it looks like the TA
Gabby?
wants...
Why?
Oh, GY. Ends up getting taken down. Carl with the rotation with the Exorcism does get the kill. Yeah, very easy kill there for the DP.
I'm surprised how far Orca looked to push up. I mean, at this point, Gabby's got some decent stats. He's got power treads and rate band, a lot more HP to play with. They were still just trying to go for Anchor Smash, Gush, and Little Shredder, but without the Ravage, I feel like the kill threat's just not there. So what was a rough lane for Gabby kind of turns around, has level 6. It's working onto the Dragonlance, still can't quite play the jungle as fast without the Mask of Madness, but you are getting a little bit more out of it. The one downside here for T1 Mike is that with Exo popped, you don't have that push on mid. So that is holding back on, clearing out big objectives, taking control of the map. It does look like Carl's much more willing to be aggressive here.
Yeah, it seems like he just wants to fight right now and just sort out these lanes before he actually groups up and goes for a tower. Then we go on to GY again. Nature's Grass will be there and Carl will move in with the Siphon, but the Cookie is going to create enough distance for GY to be just fine. Nothing to really try and hold him down here. I mean, they are lacking stuns without Cuckoo with the Rolling Thunder. Still, I mean, top 3 net worths on the board right now are all T1 cores. So it does feel like no matter what lane you look at, they have won. Quite significantly, in fact.
Yeah, nice little start for them coming out here in the laning phase. You are still getting VT Faded clearing out those stacks, but it's not as much gold. I think it was only like 1 double stack, 1 triple stack in large camp. So not as much of an injection as you'd want for your TA after a moderately even start in lane. And this is to the benefit of T1 now. Free lane for Cuckoo. As you mentioned, Mike, he does like to play a lot greedier. Our Pangolier already has a Vanguard up. He's going to be hard to kill down once he gets the shield crash on top of that. And the lineup of Orca, with most of its cores, with most of its synergy, is on physical damage with minus armor.
Yeah.
So only really the puck and maybe the kisses coming out from Yif can really handle that Pangolier down line.
Top lane, Static Storm, but no, Kinetic Field was a bit too late. They'll glimpse him back, however, but a big Ravage is out. GY still trying. Zephyr, he'll back his way out of there as GY is actually going to be able to run. And they can't really hold him down. Not without the Pango. So Cuckoo's still down a bot lane, is not going to join. They do force a lot of rotations and a Ravage out from Team Orca though, so I guess it's not a complete loss. In fact, never mind, Dream Coil's there, into the Mortimer's Kisses, and now the regen taken by Citrus. It looks like Carl will try to stand his ground, but he does break the leash. Still healthy enough to try and fight this one out, but in the meantime, Whitemon will stay behind and take the deaths for the team. As Menu ping once more, he'll go on to Zephyr. Cuckoo has joined now though, will turn on to BT Faded, but does not commit. The T1, they do end up losing one. Team Orca, they'll leave with that.
A bit of a small mistake, just a Static Storm in the kinetic field not keeping them in there. Minyu Ping does manage to get the snipe on that Slippery Weaver, so does charge ahead and find another piece of punishment. But you have to be cautious about that on T1. You could argue wasting Ravage is a potential win in the long game, because lower cooldown and Static Storm means that the next time they try to make that play, no Ravage threat from GY, but you can't afford to give openings to Orca. We talked about it. This is a team that's been steadily improving. They know their timings. With that sort of fight, they've evened out that slight disparity earlier, and now VT Fade is starting to climb up with all the space he's had from these fights.
It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to... Never mind, they aren't defending that top tier 1 tower, as it looks like Carl has rotated around, so I was going to say that would be quite detrimental for Whitemon had that tier 1 dropped. So you do want to hold these tier 1s as long as possible here for T1, and well, Carl quickly making the rotation to put a stop to that push and buy a bit more time for Whitemon to get that T1 healed up. Problem is, John, while all that's happening, BT Faded is really starting to escalate on this TA. Top of the net worth board now, and well, you already said this multiple times, but he is probably going to be able to outfarm Gabby.
It's starting to come online. Dragonlance already up, Desolator not too far off. That's going to amp up their push potential as well here. And again, we talked about Treant's shield keeping towers alive for a lot longer. In terms of cooldown, it's not going to be enough to overcome all that minus armor once that item's up, and they do manage to clear the top tier 1. So top jungle opened up a little bit more. They already have forward vision in that jungle as well. They're kind of set to just invade, check for stacks, prevent Gabby from having a good time clearing out. The earlier stacks were cleared out, and there are triangle stacks now for Gabby. So not the biggest resource to lose, but much more space for Orca now to work on their own macro game and work on their economy down the line.
Speaking of which, two-man smoke here down to the bot side of the map, John. It's like they have spotted out Gabby to boot, so I don't know if they have enough damage, but no, they do have Mortimer's Kisses up. That should be enough if you can land the Dream Coil here on Gabby. They're still going to try and do get it in the end, but the rotations are going to fly out as Gabby tries to get close to cancel. Overgrowth is there. It's still not cancelled off, though. Gabby is still copying way too much damage, and he's going to drop. And Whitemon, he tried to cancel the Mortimer's Kisses, John, but Root does not actually cancel them.
Yeah, it's a pretty big win for the side of Orca, finding that big kill onto Gabby. We just talked about him having to catch up in the triangle. Losing some gold in the process, not going to feel great. There is a smoke out here from T1. They do have Exo, so they could transition into a push. But Orca reads it. Realize no one's on the map. They backed off a bit. No Dream Coil, no Kisses. They can't really take the counter fight too well. And that's 4 heroes bot, Mike, turning into 5 with Gabby TPing back in. The entire map still open up for the rest of Orca to farm.
That it is. Now T1, they're going to group up and try to get this T1 tower down. This is all trading as well, because the top T1 has already dropped. T1 kind of playing from behind now as Orca. They'll keep trying to slowly defend this bottom T1 tower with the puck, but eventually Citrus will have to leave. They'll leave the T1 tower to go down, but they are very happy right now, Orca. GY farming very efficiently, and of course so is the TA VT Faded. They're already onto the mid tier 1. I mean, the living armor is there to heal it up. It just doesn't make up for the fact that Menu Ping is freely able to just sit here and just hit the tower.
And the healing really isn't much. The value now is just from the armor. Healing per use is 180 HP. That's over a duration of, what is it, 30 seconds? It's really not much in terms of holding back a push unless you can really stall for a couple of minutes there. And eventually Orca will be able to get that. Again, big timing here, Mike, is going to be VT Faded's Desolator. And he's only 200 gold away. There's been no movements onto the triangle. There's been no way of stopping that TA. Now they might find more here.
Yes, he's going to pop the Static Storm, but that's about all he can do here as he is going to eventually drop. The Rolling Thunder is Cuckoo. Going to try and turn back it onto GY. And they should have enough. I mean, they've got plenty of heroes around here on GY, though he's a very tanky boy. But eventually, with enough stunts out from Cuckoo, they'll get the job done. Mind you, John, you were forced to pop Exorcism for that. That's not going to feel great for T1.
No, every single time they pop Exo away from these objectives, they just can't transition to getting more map control off the back of it. And we always talk about this with the Death Prophet on hand, especially if it's a core. I think as a support, you're much more fine just using it to help out in the fight. But as a core, you want to get max value from that spell. Massive cooldown across every level, 150 seconds when it's down. And it's really your main source of push as long as Gabby's not joining in. And at this point, Gabby does need to just sit back and farm. So that will take away any threat from Orca for now. They're going to be, all right, we lost our tide. Not the biggest deal. We got a kill out. We forced out Static Storm. We still have Ravage when GY respawns. So on that respawn, they can actually look to force a fight, and if T1 forces the issue on mid with no Exo, they're going to have to fight into Ravage as well.
Pretty rough. There's your Desolator up now for VT Faded. He'll be ready to go Roshan at any moment now. Just maybe wait out GY to be there to tank the damage from Roshan and maybe just have that Ravage available. As well, in the mid lane right now, Menu Ping and Zeph are going to go at it. Menu Ping in a bit of an awkward position, but he's going to go for the time lapse and try to run his way out of there. Dust is going to pop and it does connect. So eventually Zephyr should be able to land a glimpse, but no, it's only level 2. And they don't see him yet. Menu Ping, he'll go for the TP out. Whitemon, he's going to get the vision, but it's too late. He could not get the overgrowth off in time. And in the meantime, the mid-tier 1 tower is being pushed in again. Carl is going to try and put a stop to this. BT Faded, he might just keep going. It's just too easy with the Deso. And now Coil's there, Citrus. He'll lock down the DP into the Mortimer's Kisses. It won't be enough though. The pig out is there, but they only wanted that mid-tier 1 tower, and that's going to open up Roshan now for Team Orca.
It's just perfect timing for Orca. Right on the Deso, take a tier 1 mid, look for Rosh. They've got the trap set in place. They've got pretty good vision into top jungle. They are still forcing a fight though.
Oh, Cuckoo, that was a very aggressive swash in, and it ends up costing him his life. That's pretty rough. He will know there's vision on top of the cliff now, but I don't know when T1's going to have a chance to come D-ward that.
I mean, if they do go for the D-ward, they've got to immediately flank towards that Rosh, because it's not going to take too long. Double damage on Citrus as well, Mike. I mean, can you believe that? With all the minus armor in hand, this doesn't take too long.
That was minus 31 armor, John. Minus 31 armor. Menu ping. Oh, he's such a menace, Menu ping. He takes the courier out of Whitemon so he can't scout out for the Observer Ward. And it's just, he's so annoying on this Weaver. This Whitemon now is going to move in. Use the Sentry Ward, and that'll be enough to take out that the Observer. But they got Roshan, John. They're very happy on the side of Orca at the moment.
Yeah, really good position now for this game. Despite a bit more of a back and forth start, you've got a 6K lead, 8-3. You're up in map control with a mid-tier 1 down. You had some pretty good forward vision that you will need to replant. And they just kind of need to start playing consistently now. Work together as a team. They've got the Wombo combo with Dream Coil, Ravage, Kisses coming out. T1, they still need to keep that stall game right. And they still need to buy time for Gabby. And this is one thing as well when you do have that DP mid. Your win condition's not going to be the DP. There are ways to itemize. There are some pretty good power spikes left for the DP. I think the big ones really say the room to get the Ag Shard. And that fear is very, very strong in a very big team fight. But most of the work will have to come out from Gabby, and he's still pretty underfarmed. Like, he's behind VT Faded by 1.6k. That's half an item that RTA has over the Luna, and we already talked about Luna in certain matchups. This is a hero that has a lot of farm potential, and it needs to hit an item advantage to really feel strong. You don't have that right now. TA just has a lot of burst damage in this point of the game. VT Faded's going to have a blink. BKB next. He understands that we don't need anything further. We don't need more damage. We just need to stand up and fight. The blink and BKB will allow him to do that. So that's the window of T1. Before that BKB comes through, at the least on VT Faded, these 4 heroes on T1 have got to try to make a play. We haven't seen their Wombo combo team fight on T1's end, Mike. We haven't seen a big overgrowth with Static Storm, with a roll on top on multiple heroes. Orca's not giving them that opportunity.
Certainly not. T1. But eventually you've got to group up and try to get those team fights going for yourself. But for now, I think they might even just wait out the blink from Cuckoo. Have that available so he can make the jump in and maybe catch out the puck first. So even the BKB on Gabby will be around the time when you really want to start getting involved with your team. Start getting that Eclipse on cooldown and finding some kills for the side of the Dire. So Orca 7k ahead, but we're gonna have to wait out this quick pause before we do get to continue. How's your day been, by the way, Jonathan? Or did you? I know you stayed up last night watching the game. So did I. Yeah. Did you wake up late today, John? Is it a bit of a late one this morning?
Actually, no, not that late. Because we had like brunch every Sunday. We tend to have like brunch. My mom cooks up pancakes, a few hot dogs, get some bread out. You know, nice, comfy breakfast food. And did wake up a bit earlier. It giving me a little bit of a headache, but definitely worthwhile. My God has filled the day with Southeast Asian Dota, so it is what it is. Sometimes you pay the price with lack of sleep. Doesn't matter. We're gamers, man. Those are just gamer hours.
Absolutely.
It doesn't affect us at all.
Yeah, not at all, John. BT Faded. I mean, T1's not affecting him at all either. He's got the blink up now on that TA, and still 4 minutes on the Aegis, so you could kind of expect Orca to group up very soon and try to go for a big team fight. Even without the BKB up on the TA, it doesn't matter. They've got some great timings and they're going to move. 5-man smoke up, Team Orca. Which way are we going?
Dire are scanning.
They'll find Cuckoo in the triangle if they want to go that way, and the scan is going to find him. Cuckoo, though, going to leave, seeing that there's no creeps around. Instead, down to the bot side, where they will find Zephyr, and he does break the smoke successfully. He'll still go for the bounty, and it seems like they wanted to find Gabby on that Luna, but he's already out of there. So instead, they're going to have to settle for Zephyr. But it's still a pretty decent win there for T1 to force the smoke, and the rotations down bot. And And T1 naturally do move towards the top side of the map.
Blessings upon a loyal warrior.
Just a great smoke break from Zephyr, knowing that something up. And getting Gabby out in time. He gets to still farm the top jungle. They've taken care of the vision game there from Orca. So Orca's kind of blind on the map right now. And from the side of Orca, there's some pressure to force something out, but they still have to be cautious. Remember, we talked about T1 also having Wombo combo available
Oh
for
boy,
their
Carl.
side.
Carl, he is just getting soloed here by BT Faded. Traps are going to slow him down and he's surrounded. There's no way out of this as the Ravage is going to come through from GY, connecting on 3 heroes, and that's going to be a wipe. Cuckoo and Zephyr both going down. Whitemon, he'll barely make it out. It's just too easy right now for Orca. It's just not even close.
After managing to get the forced movements out from T1, because they don't want to just give Carl away, of course, so they commit their bodies forward. I think did Zephyr just respawn after dying bot as well, right?
Oh.
So he just respawned, comes in, dies. Not the best feeling in the world for a disruptor, and that's one issue with a disruptor that we've seen before, Mike, when it was really popular. When you are behind as that hero, when your team is not playing aggressive, and you're always like counter-reacting or just counter-initiating to the movement of the enemy team, it doesn't feel like Disruptor does much, you know, because Glimpse is an aggressive tool. It's not a very strong defensive tool, although you can use it that way in some situations, but it's mainly for aggression, chasing someone down, dragging them back, getting Static Storm on top. We just haven't seen T1 be the aggressors in a while. So your Disruptor pickup is kind of just a sitting duck to being picked off. You know, it doesn't stop these ganks all too well, unlike other supports like, say, a Shadow Demon or even an Abaddon can stall or an Enchantress can stall a lot better. And that's one thing that T1's lacking. I think T1 has to look for that aggression. As you said, Mike, maybe once this BKB is up on Gabby, that's the moment they start going on. But we have to see them play with something soon. As there is complaints about ping. GY says 600 ping is coming through for Citrus. And Carl, who we've known has had issues for a while, says it's playable.
Yeah, and then you've got a 30-year-old Australian caster casting this game, John. So I can definitely confirm it is playable. Get it together, Citrus. Come on now. It's only 600. At least you're still connected to the game. At least he doesn't have to play upside down either, John. Must be very nice for Citrus.
Yeah, you know, no. You think about it, Mike. You Australians have an advantage being down under, because all the blood's in your head. You don't need blood to your legs when you play video games. It's all in the brain.
Very true.
Your excuses doesn't work. It just highlights, Mike, you need a bigger brain here, buddy. I'm sorry.
Well,
It's not Australia. It's you.
You've got to consider the mosquitoes, John. Maybe they're sapping all the blood away as it's flowing down to the brain. Have you thought about that, John? We've got some pretty damn big mosquitoes over here.
That's fair. And to be fair, I have never seen a mosquito described as big, so I'm now very curious as to what you guys have there in Australia. That's terrifying. Still, T1, smoke out from them. This could be terrifying too if they find a good angle, but they've got to work for it.
T1, they're going to try.
It's quite nice.
Very hard to see how you initiate. Again, Cuckoo, he's going to be around this time. And he's got the blink up, so you've really got to get a great Rolling Thunder initiation if you are Cuckoo. It seems like Orca, however, they've read the movement. Now, GY and Yif, they stay behind the T1 mid tower. They prepare for the defense. They don't have Ravage, though, so you might have to accept the fate of this T1 tower is to go down. But no, they will not. They will commit the Mortimer's Kisses just to really delay things a bit more. But eventually, T1, they're just going to stand their ground and wait this one out. Now, Team Orca, they want to try and force the fight. A 3-man Dream Coil already coming out from Citrus, but there is going to be no follow-up to it. GY is still 25 seconds away for the Ravage. So a bit of a warning shot here from Citrus.
Yeah. I think that could have lined up for kills if VT Faded was around. With his damage output, just having that control might have let them find some kills. Menu ping, really aggressive. Level 12 on the Weaver up against a level 9 Pause 4 Disruptor. That's not great for Zephyr.
Oh, it's not great for Zephyr, neither is this, John. Static Storm is now gone, and it does some damage, but Menu ping just gets rid of all that damage, and they only have 15 seconds of Aegis timing left, but it won't matter. It's 4v5 right now. They've got the Ravage back up. I don't think VT Faded's very afraid of dying. In fact, look at this, Cuckoo. Almost getting deleted here by Citrus. And even Menu ping gonna make life a little bit harder for the Pango, even in the fountain. Don't let him heal up that quick. And in the meantime, they'll take the tier 3 tower, it seems. unless T1 can find a way to force a good fight. But again, it's all about that rolling thunder. And we haven't really seen a great initiation from that yet.
It does feel like T1, their main initiation is that rolling thunder, but I think ideally you actually start off here with the overgrowth, right? You want something like a blink on Whitemon. He's just going for the full solar crest instead, because he is a pos 5. There's no room for him to grow on that tree and protector. And now Orca, they have the high ground here. They've got pretty good vision on the jungle. T1 not piercing that area yet. Have to be a bit cautious. Aegis is gone from Orca, so VT Fated's in a more vulnerable position. I don't think it matters to him. He's just so confident with his movements. He's farming solo top. The vision from T1's not allowing them to see exactly where VT Fated's at. They do have good wards by the river spot, so they know at least where they're playing on mid, and they will go for the smoke wrap around here.
They will. Gabby. Sees menu ping, but this could be bait. I mean, they'll glimpse him back. They commit the static storm for this, but the Ravage is going to fly out from GY. Oh, he's got 5 heroes with that. They're going to try and fight back. Exorcism has been popped, and there goes your Eclipse, but it's on nobody. Oh, it's on nobody. We have to pause and see it too. Oh, no. Well, at least Gabby's farming the neutrals. John, look at that. Look at those Lucent beams drop down.
Hey, those neutrals are tougher now, Mike. You want them gone.
Absolutely.
Might not be the straightforward play for a lot, but this is efficiency from Gabby. He's getting a little bit of something at the least. And this is a rough position. I can't believe T1 committed that hard just for the Weaver. I mean, Static Storm to start, just on that one hero. It does feel like the Disruptor was kind of an answer to the Tide. Because that's naturally what you want to stop, the Ravage. There's no way for you to purge off that silence from Static Storm unless you have that BKB.
Here we go.
Let's see if Orca decides to chase it on here.
I mean, Carl, he's low, but not quite low enough, and the cookie will not land, but they land the gush, and they've got so much damage. Cuckoo's going to try and help with a great rolling thunder, but he may have screwed himself over as he barely TPs out in time. Still a very rough team fight for T1, and a menu ping. I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of this POS 5, John. Great bait here from the Weaver, and the amount of work he's done so far in this game 1. I mean, he's 5-0-6 right now, Jonathan. He has not even died once as a POS 5.
Yeah, and that's why the Weaver is just so strong. I mean, we've saw that in the last patch. We're seeing it in this patch, despite the nerfs to Shukuchi. At the end, you know, by the time he gets max level Shukuchi, it's still the same cooldown. You still have the same uptime on going in and out of these fights. You're still very hard to pin down, especially considering T1's draft of lack of hard control. It puts T1 in a very difficult spot. Again, I think the ideal for T1 here is a blink on Whitemon, but they can't shift farm priority like that. And it's not like we're seeing Zephyr get his Ags anytime soon, which is why you get the pause for Disruptor for the potential of that Static Storm mutant. None of those spikes are lined up here, Mike, and that means there's so much pressure on Cuckoo to get the rolls. But we saw that fight. He didn't get the roll until after Static Storm, until after a few of the heroes already fell. So there's another counter initiation move, not T1 being the aggressors. They started off with Static Storm instead, and that just gives GY so much room to get that big Ravage we saw in the last fight.
Oh, Gabby bot lane. He's going to be cautious here, John. They are grouping up around that side. Keep in mind as well, John, Roshan's up at a very early timing. Only 25 seconds left. I believe it was a 30-second timer when it did start. Is Citrus going to check? Just one orb will do it. Gabby. It's going to be very, very quiet right now on this Luna. Scary, scary times. But he's going to be okay. BT faded. He'll go after the bot T1 instead. And Gabby's out of there now, so he's just got free. You know what, John? If T1 could somehow sneak into the Roshan pit and scout that out, they might have time to take it.
Yeah, and they do have damage coming through from Gabby. They will have Exo up in a few seconds as well. So not the slowest rush. In fact, quite a quick Roshan from them if they do get that sneak round. And Orca don't have wards in that area. They don't have a trap laid down as well. There is a sentry watching the pit. So this should be a very good objective for T1 in giving them more angles to taking this fight, and they will commit. Orca have to know something's up, and they have gotten the TPs off you, Mike.
Yeah, they've read the movement again. Even with no vision, they know something's awry, so menu ping already there with the swarm to get all the vision necessary. Ravage is also up here from GY, so we'll kind of expect a perfect initiation again, because he hasn't missed. T1 gonna smoke up. In prep, Cuckoo really needs to be able to shut down this tide. So Citrus is going to make a jump in, but will just bounce right back out. Carl still going with the exorcism, but now the kisses are going to fly in onto Gabby, and there's a dream coil. He does have BKB though, so he should be fine. But he's lost a lot of HP already. It's GY almost trying to bait the BKB out from Gabby, but he doesn't flinch. Gabby still has it. They need that BKB for this Roshan. Kinetic field's going to be dropped. More vision out as Menu Ping going to rush forward, forcing out the dust. It's all about wasting resources now from either side. BT fade though, he's had enough, and the Ravage is there, but it lands on nobody. He misses absolutely everything, so T1, they might be able to fight now. A great Rolling Thunder, but BT faded. He's got the BKB out. Overgrowth's gonna hold him down. Cookie is gonna create some distance between him and Gabby though, so he can walk his way out and reinitiate. Back in onto Carl they go. The Death Prophet, no, never mind, BT faded. He's the one in trouble. He's the one dropping low. As Zephyr, he does go down. Carl in the meantime still going, does kill off GY, and just trying to run away from Menu Ping, who will keep the chase up with the Spirit Vessel, but the Yules is there. Now Yip jumping in, but he's missed the Scanner Blast. Never mind that, he's been stunned up. He's gonna die. Whitemon goes down as well though, as now Citrus jumps back in after Cuckoo, but the roll-up is there into the TP, but it's not gonna be enough. Team Orca, they drag out the team fight for what seemed like an eternity, Jonathan, but they have won it out, and they are gonna go after that Roshan play.
That was insane patience coming out there from Orca. They stall that fight out long enough that they get another use of the Dream Coil in the middle of it, and they managed to clean up. VT Faded playing on Knife's Edge, looking like he was pinned down, but they have no good refraction clears from the side of T1 outside of maybe Swashbuckle. So he just managed to run out. Swash was on cooldown. They couldn't clear out the shield. They're not in a good position to go for the fight. I think Orca are worried about the counter initiation coming out, so they'll respect that, get a bit of a reset. Respawns aren't too short. Too long anyway, and they'll have kisses back up for the next engagement here.
No Ravage though. That's maybe a little bit problematic here for Orca and T1. They know this. They've got to move in, but Citrus again just going to jump in, forcing the exorcism, so Carl has to go for Roshan right now. Mortimer's kisses though, going to force him back again, and it's plenty of damage, even with the side blades out, and GY will jump in, but again, no Ravage is available. He does get the BKB forced out though from Gabby, as VT faded. In the meantime, going to go after Roshan and does take it. This is not the team fight for T1 as Citrus. He's going to jump in. Two-man Dream calls out. And now with BT faded, they should have plenty of damage. Overgrowth is there though, but GY is going to follow up and Carl's gone. So is Whitemon. They find another successful team fight for Team Orca. And they've got the Aegis underneath their belts.
And they lose out in some neutrals as well. They're still chasing Gabby.
He's going to be okay. Nothing to break the TP.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That's unfortunate. With EXO running, Carl cleared out a couple of creeps. He dropped the Elven Tunic on the stair line. I don't think they realize it on Orca, so they should be... No, they tried to send a courier out. They lost one courier. They will find it. But that's one dicey spot to be in. And now, they do pick it up. It's the courier of... Yeah, Carl does manage to pick up in his courier, right? Send it straight to the neutral. He sent it to neutral. Right-click send to neutrals again. So it's all the way back. But the high ground's not going to take long. With the damage output of VT Faded and Ravage being back up, this is a really good position for Orca.
Oh, Ravage is there into the three-man from GY before any BKBs could fly out. They still got BT Faded with the Aegis down. Maybe now you could really get this fight going. They want that TA down. Cuckoo doesn't have the Rolling Thunder yet, but he's going to jump in with the shield crash, and VT still going down. Will be glimpsed back now as the Eclipse is going to fly through, and T1, they defend the high ground. They get a very, very good kill for themselves in the form of the TA. The Citrus in the meantime does kill off Zephyr, but Cuckoo's chasing down Menu Ping on that Weaver. He's just not going to be able to keep up, however. Though he is still trying. But I don't think he has the damage. Not on his own. I do think about turning, but I think it might be enough for Team Orca. ZGY now going to run into Carl, but there's your siphons out. Onto that Tide Hunter. He needs some help, though. GY is a very, very tanky boy at the moment. He'll have the help coming in, however, as Menu Ping now going to show up and does use up Gabby, but that's not going to save GY. They will eventually get the Tide, and T1 might be able to make a bit of a comeback from this point.
They managed to get a successful defense. Citrus.
And in. Coil is there onto Cuckoo. Again, no Rolling Thunder to be able to break out of this, so Citrus could just keep going and does. Great pick up there from the puck, because now he sees Whitemon, so they just want a bit more. Trap is there to slow him down, and Citrus will get a double as now Static Storm has been completely whiffed. Menu Ping, though, does find his first death of the game, but Citrus, he's not done yet. He'll get another.
Oh my god.
In the form of Zephyr. Gabby, being the only one left standing here at this bot lane, is going to try to run, but Citrus, he won't keep going for the chase. He won't risk it.
I think that all stemmed from a small mistake coming out from VT Faded on that high ground fight. He didn't manage to use his BKB. Even on his second life, he didn't manage to get that spell immunity off. I think if they did, they might have been able to rally around that Aegis use, maybe look to force the fight in a better spot and find some better pickoffs. T1, despite finding some wins in the earlier fight on the high ground, overstayed their welcome down bot. Respawns are still short in Orca. They managed to get EF back. Citrus is just gunning everyone down with that E-Blade. And once BKBs fade, T1's in a very vulnerable position. So you have to respect the output of the puck at this point. Still maintaining the 17k lead here on Orca's end as T1. And still need a lot of time to grow up here. Gabby behind the farm of Citrus does have his Manta up, going for the Scotty next. A great way of piercing through the BKBs, handling that TA a little bit more with the slows. It does feel like you're going to want more damage though. Like, Eclipse is a good source of it, but again, very long cooldowns. And you are starting to see Whitemon save up for that Blink we mentioned. So once Treant Blink is up, I think T1's going to be able to find much better angles in these fights. And maybe start to find some bigger wins. We'll see if Whitemon gets that in a timely manner here.
Well, something that concerns me for T1 though, John, is GY now has the Ags up. So even more minus armor in an AoE here for VT Faded. Playing against the Ags Gush, it's very difficult. Once those BKBs are down, you're just a sitting duck, because now Gabby is going to get spotted up first. GY, he has the Ravage, but he won't throw it out yet. They'll be very slow with this as they found out Zephyr on the Disruptor. That's the first target, and now the Ravage is there. They found the Luna. Gabby, he's going to BKB and run. He can't force the fight right now. He needs to escape. Or can he? He'll come back in as Carl is still going, but the rest of the team look like they wanted to back out. Instead, they'll try on to GY. They might be able to find the time, but Citrus, he's not done yet. He'll go in again. Dream Call committed. Menu Ping from the high ground, and now VT Faded with the reinitiation. They'll commit the overgrowth, but it doesn't really matter. It's just so much damage. Carl, though, is going to continue trying to fight, but they have the Scanner Blast. They've got the Cookie, and they've even got Cuckoo. It'll be a full team wipe against T1. Menu Ping will take a double. And VT Faded, he jumps in at the right moment to just push that team fight back the way of the Radiant.
That was an insane save out from Citrus there, Mike. E-Blade onto VT Faded while he was being chased down by Cuckoo. Cuckoo almost had that kill. Really good disarms coming out from Lucky Shot. And killing off the TA would have given them a lot more time for maybe a bit of a high ground defense. Maybe just stopping Orca from taking these objectives. But with VT Faded still up, they take one set of racks. They could gun for another, as they know Static Storm Overgrowth's going to be down on the respawn. Exo's down as well. No tools for T1 to stop this push.
They might go, oh, well, they can't actually go all the way. Still Tier 2 talent down bot, but, well, like you said, John, they've got 2 Raxes down now here for Team Orca. 30-9, but more importantly, a 26k net worth lead for Team Orca. And T1, it just, I mean, you saw the last fight, John. They get caught by Ravage. It wasn't really followed up on. They get away, but once those BKBs wear off, it's just too hard to fight.
Dire's courier has been killed.
God. Faded also finds a valuable courier kill. And that's going to cut off his Scotty on Gabby. He's going to have to walk outside to pick it up himself. Not the best situation. We're finally seeing that new item come out, a Revenant's Brooch with a Witchblade upgrade. So Citrus has it up. I'm keen to see how much that does for him with the True Strike coming up and extra magic damage. Interesting. Again, the fact that Puck got buffed up just by having Witchblade not being a dead slot. I don't know if you really needed that, but I guess Puck hasn't been, hasn't been the most winning here, although it has been pretty strong in the past patch.
Oh, Gabby, Citrus looking for an initiation, does have the coil up, and he's going to see the Luna, but he won't make the jump in yet. Instead, mid lane is where they go, because they want to deal with Carl, which has been a real problem, and with the Ravage, they'll lock him down long enough. There was no saving Carl there, as now Cuckoo may have gone too far. With the swashbuckle, he'll be caught, and they take him out. No buyback on either. That might just be it, John. 3v5, how do you defend?
Doesn't feel like you can. You're in a really tight spot here for the side of T1. If you can maybe catch all of them, in one static storm with the overgrowth and an eclipse on top, that's the ideal situation, but that will require Orc to really misplay. And considering how they run this game, I don't see that. 32-9, 31k net worth lead. It's been a near perfect game coming out from Orca start to finish.
That it has. Still, the defense is going to be set up, and Team Orca, they don't have the creeps yet.
Oh god.
What is it, John?
E-Blade up as well on Yif. Can I talk about this Revenant's Brooch a little bit more, Mike? So you have E-Blade, that gets them in ethereal form. Pop Revenant's Brooch, and you can hit units in ethereal form for some reason. Bonus magic damage. Why?
Why not, John?
Look at this.
Why the hell not?
It's like, why?
Meanwhile, towards us out. When Cuckoo's in, they've got BT Faded locked down, but he'll pop his BKB and just wait out Gabby's BKB as GY is dropping and does get taken out on the tide, but Citrus in the meantime has found Zephyr on the Disruptor. So a 1-for-1, but it's certainly in the favor of T1, as they might even find a bit more now. Citrus forced to BKB to be able to find his own way out, and it doesn't seem like they can go through the final racks yet. They might have to wait for the next Roshan timing, which is still going to be 1 minute away here for Team Orca.
Could just play it safe, no rush from the side of Orca. I want you to take a look at that Revenant's Brooch. Mouse over it, Mike. Do you see how much damage the next 5 attacks it says does? Because I don't. But it says it does extra magic damage with the True Strike on that Revenant's Brooch on Citrus.
Well, no, I don't see it, John. It's dealing 1 times your intelligence as damage every second, Jonathan.
So maybe just the Witchblade reactivated
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah.
I guess. That does make sense.
Gabby.
Still Citrus.
Okay.
You gotta love patch notes, don't you, Mike? You gotta love our tooltip sometimes.
Oh, absolutely,
Like,
John.
we were having that discussion about Doom. Devour does give armor, but it doesn't say it on the tooltip. It says it on the update note, which is cool. You know, if you don't look at if you have bad vision, you definitely miss that with the tiny text there.
Well, you know
Still,
what, John?
E1. Yeah,
There
man.
is a spring cleaning patch coming. If you got any problems, Jonathan, you go to that damn Reddit thread, you post down what your problem is, alright? It's getting fixed up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully we get that soon. Smoke out from Orca. They get a good scan here as well. See if they find the angle.
Menu ping again. It's just so easy to scout out this Weaver. It's very hard to stop him, even with the Disruptor up, but just how do you detect him? How do you catch him? And they've been trying all game. Like, look at this, they just ignore them. They ignore T1 completely, they'll just go for the Megas. T1, they're hanging around Roshan, and Roshan is up right now. There's no creeps though, backdoor has kicked in. I don't know if they have enough damage anymore. In fact, Roshan is going, T1, perhaps making the right decision here, as they have to TP and try to fight this one out. Exorcism has been popped by Carl. There's your Mortal Mosquitoes in as well to try and force them out. So 1 melee barracks remaining for T1. But the backdoor was there just in time to make sure that Orca could not keep going. As Carl, he'll keep going onto the Roshan. I mean, they've got to try at this rate. They've got to get this Aegis for their side of things. But Citrus, he's in. Coil's there, and now the Ravage. GY, he caught both calls here. Gabby, he's still going to be all right though. Still alive, still able to fight. Roshan is very low now as they've caught out the Weaver. Menu ping may finally go down and does. He can buy back into this fight if he really wants to. In the meantime, Gabby thinking about going back to that Roshan, but may have to force a fight again as Cuckoo is going to die, but he'll buy back. Now Eclipse is in. GY copping so much damage. Carl's got the hand up, asking for a high five. He's getting nothing though, but right clicks and side blades here from BT Faded. Gabby, he's going to back off back to that high ground. But Roshan has been left. You see that AoE Gush, John? It's just so annoying to have to play into. Constantly slow it up with minus armor, and now Carl again going to be in danger, but the attack does miss from BT, but now the Scatter Blast does get the stun off. Overgrowth is there from Whitemon. They're going to try one more time. Whitemon, he's going to die, and so will Yif. So it's a 1-for-1 so far, as maybe now they could get BT Faded as they glimpse him back in the TA. He's a sitting duck. They'll take him down, but now Carl's gone. It's up to Gabby, and the Dream Coil's there to lock down the Luna as the Gush is out. They want Zephyr. In fact, never mind. They want Gabby on that Luna, and it looks like they might just have him, but no. Gabby, he'll get to the high ground, but he can't fight back. He'll buy back into the game. As Cuckoo with the Rolling Thunder is going to be able to find GY. That's one. Gabby Has to make this fight work. They'll find menu ping. That'll be a tieback. And maybe now you could try for Roshan if you are T1. Though I say that GY's coming back, John. He's not done yet. He's pulled back into this game as well. Who actually takes Roshan? A tier 4 towers are under siege as we speak, Jonathan.
Oh, look at that damage.
Oh, Gabby.
Oh.
He's in trouble. He's going to BKB and run, but if he dies here, that's going to be a dieback, and that's going to be GG. He'll matter out, though. Citrus still chasing him down the puck, just such a menace, and that's going to be Gabby gone. That has to be it. And they call it GG. Team Orca, after 41.5 minutes, take game number 1. And what a fashion it was in, John.
Insane performance out from Orca. We did talk about them just steadily improving and having that 2-0 win in the group stage over T1, but we've seen steady improvements from T1 as well with their new roster. I expected, a little bit more fight coming out from them. It did feel like they had ideas for their draft here, right? They had Overgrowth along with Static Storm. They had the DP for push. They didn't quite win out in the lanes the way they'd expect. I think GY just had a fantastic time in his tide, keeping Gabby in check. I really appreciate just Orca's item buildup, especially Citrus. I think he is definitely the standout player of that game.
Wow.
Going for the reworked E-Blade and the Revenant's Reach. You saw Gabby's HP while he was running away. Full HP E-Blade out along with the Revenant's Reach active went down to half. He had to BKB, and that was the point when I think Citrus already got off at least 3 attacks from the Revenant's Reach. That is insane. Puck's late game scaling is certainly much better than before with that item buildup while still having magic output. I think T1's got to really kick it up a notch here, Mike. Orca, you have to remember as well in the context of DPC, Orca's a Div 2 team. They didn't get promoted. So T1's got to watch their back because this isn't even a team that should be at their level, but they're playing like crazy so far, Mike.
Oh, that they are, John. And with that, we are going to have to head off to a short 10-minute break. But of course, right after that break, we'll be back with Game 2's draft between Team Orca and T1.